United States. They're giving them away for free.
Thanks everyone for coming out today to this amazing rally here. We're standing in front of the Dollar Jail. This is one of the first places that was ever constructed here in so-called Toronto. It's an occupied native land, native territory. We have to understand here that the land that we stand on today is all occupied native land. And the fact that these laws and jurisdiction were imposed on this land meant the genocide of our indigenous peoples today. As an indigenous Mapuche person here to speak today, I can first-hand understand the first-hand account of the genocide that is meant to our people. Here on Turtle Island, all the way down to Amayana and down to Mapuche territory, it's all the same thing. They have occupied our territories to be able to impose their own colonial orders and oppress their own people that are standing here today. We are here today to support our fellow comrades who are still in jail today, those who have died in the last struggle for the land as well as for their freedom. Our allies, our anarchist prisoners today, Eric, Adam, and Peter, who have both detained in different jails across this city and across southern Ontario. These people, although most of us here today, struggle for indigenous sovereignty rights. They struggle for the rights of all, to abolish prison, to abolish all oppression upon our peoples. And we are here standing here today in solidarity with them. And so, and all the G20 political prisoners today, the 6 political prisoners that will soon be in jail, we all stand by them today because of their conspiracy charges. This criminalization of dissent is going on all across the continent. Right now, there's the political prisoners that are in jail, indigenous people that stood up for the right of their land and their dignity, and they've decided to take them in jail just because profit and private property are more important than people's lives. And so,
release the political prisoners now!
I also speak about the 5 anarchist political prisoners that are in Chile right now, also facing anti-terrorist charges against them and are facing up to 5 years in prison. We also must remember those who are still in jail today and are actually are considered to be common prisoners. We have to understand that this entire system, this society, actually makes people. We have to understand that this entire society puts on social conditions onto people so that they can actually commit those different issues that they are today. And the fact that all these people here are behind us in prison today is nothing more than the genocidal work of this capitalist system at work. And therefore we have to resist this system, tear it down, and be able to take back our lives, to be able to reclaim the land for our indigenous people, to be able to reclaim our lives in autonomous zone, to be able to organize our communities in our various different ways. And therefore, we have to stand up and be able to say this unto all this authority and to say, we won't step down until all these prisons are burned to the ground!
Middle one. Harper's a fearmonger! We don't need prisons! Crime is at its decline!
Hey, how's it going? Wait, how's it going? Oh, you guys can do better than that, come on! I'm a child and youth worker. I work with the youth that will be affected by C-10. Shame! I wrote this one day at work. So, to whom does this concern? How have so many of our children fallen? Their potential didn't hear destiny calling. Their lives full of drugs. They only have pipe dreams. Their hearts hungry for money. It's all about the cream. It takes a whole village to fully raise a child. Lost faith leaves our community barely alive. Police bear the motto to serve and protect, but justice is something they quickly forget.
Oh, hold on a second.
Woo! Crime is labeled by race, religion, and age. Obsessing over identities is a long-standing craze. Categorizing people to fit into boxes, ignoring ecology is pretty obnoxious. Empathy and prevention have begun to collect dust. Building relationships is how we build trust. Risk comes from society, not from the youth, but everyone's too scared to recognize the truth. We're all on trial, but have nothing to prove. Like a tree in the ground, I can't make you move. Stuck in solitude, stuck in all of your roots, stuck in your lies that you call truths. No one can admit that we created this mess, selfishly choosing what we want, not what is best.
So I'm here today to talk to you guys a little bit about the relationship between prisoners and the working class. And specifically the role of unions needs to be examined. To begin with, it's helpful to understand the actions of prisoners in relationship to the actions of unions. Today we're going to be talking about work stoppages, or strikes, in the history of the North American institutions of confinement. So I have some funny stories to tell you first. They aren't really funny, but they are amusing. In 1939, in the Kansas State Penitentiary, prisoners struck for better food, eating bedtime snacks, and the right to continue to buy silk underwear. These workers were prisoners that were forced to work in a mine. The strike lasted for 4 hours, and they held a superintendent and 12 guards in the mine shafts with them. Woo! We need to reject their demands as characterized as trivial or luxuries. Long underwear and the ability to eat regular food at regular times are workplace conditions. Since mine shafts are cold and hard labor forces us to eat food. Also, we have to remember that this strike is an illegal strike. Prisoners who are forced to be workers do not have the right to strike like the rest of us do. Also, they use this tactics of occupying their workplaces, not just public spaces, but like those where they work and struggle in. In September of 1971, 764 inmates at the state prison in Norfolk, Massachusetts, refused to do all but critical work at the prison. Their demands were better food, better medical treatment, training for the guards, an end to male censorship, and amnesty for prisoners. At the same time, 100 cooks refused to work for 1 day in the Kansas State Penitentiary. Their demands were considered trivial by the press of the state, including that there was too much pork being served to them at meals. When they went back to work, most prisoners refused to eat the meals that they were forced to cook. In 1972, in March, in the Ohio Penitentiary, a work stoppage was linked to 100 strikes. 100 cooks and dining room workers again refused to prepare and serve food. In response, the Screws ordered McDonald's to serve them. They were given 2 hamburgers, some French fries, and a soda pop.
Shame!
As I said, it was linked to a hunger strike being held by 10 maximum security prisoners that were being forced to undergo cruel and unusual punishment. These actions are important because it shows the benefits that these prisoners are fighting for are not just theirs. They're for everyone. They're acts of solidarity. The demand for amnesty of protesters is a direct response to the retaliation of the state against the prisoners that were involved in the Attica uprising. The demand that too much pork was being served is a demand against the collective punishment against the Nation of Islam and specifically the African American prisoners in those prisons. This is most clear in the work stoppage of the Ohio Penitentiary when they were supporting other prisoners on a hunger strike. The last piece of history I'm going to give you is in October of 1970s, the officials at Walpole State Prison agreed to a request by the Prisoners' Employees Union to lock up all the inmates at their work stoppage. The inmates' demand included conjugal visits, the right to make phone calls, more visiting privileges, and the authority to require the transfer of correctional officers, otherwise known as screws, they were harassing them. This is important because the actions of the prison guard union at Walpole State Prison demonstrates the contradictions between unions that represent these screws. Prison guard unions are not bodies of resistance. They are shields that guards use to protect themselves when they engage in torture and abuse of prisoners. Prison guards are class traitors. We call as the working class for the C-10, which is the Confederation of Unions in Quebec, to throw out the prison guards. We also, a lot of people here are from Occupy Toronto. We give a lot of good name to OPSU. OPSU represents these class traitors. OPSU has to understand we have to remove prison guards from our unions. It is harmful for the working class as a whole.
Though the other side is they do help us sometimes. Like some of those union people have helped Native people.
Ashley Smith, look at the Ashley Smith case.
Okay, sorry, there's one last thing. In March of this year, the prisoners in the Mountain Institute in BC began to sign up members with the Canadian Prisoners Labour Union Local 001. Their proposed union would raises the plagues of on the prisoner population. This includes workplace safety, access to vocational training, better pay. The pay has not been adjusted to inflation since 1986. In Canada, prisoners are paid between $5.25 and $6.90 a day for their labor. Other than using the legal system to block this union from forming, prison guards and administration have been stopping prisoners from associating with each other, assembling so they can on Canadian soil. At one point, the forced labor of prisoners went to the reproduction of those prisons and state industries. This is no longer the case. Private corporations are sold by the state the labor of these prisoners. Both the state and these corporations make profit off the labor of prisoners. We need to support prisoner unions since they are going to become an increasingly important tactic for prisoner empowerment and resistance.
Hear, hear.
We cannot just stop at supporting the legalistic unions. We have to actively encourage and defend wildcat strikes and occupations of those behind bars. This includes actions such as the Georgia strike that happened this spring, and how these actions are constantly tied to the hunger strikes of prisoners across North America. Like Pelican Bay. I'm sorry about that. So everyone, we got to make some noise today. We have to make sure the prisoners inside hear that we're out here supporting them.
Just a couple of announcements before we wrap up. Tonight there's going to be a Mapuche and Anarchist Solidarity Night where we'll be giving out free food, free warm food, I might add, and also I believe the buses from this rally will be departing from this location, and we hopefully invite you all to hopefully stay a little bit longer if you can. It's called Down with the Prison System, Prisoners Onto the Streets, and speakers include people who have recently been discharged of their conspiracy charges, as well as, give a big shout out to them, they've been through a hell of a lot this last year. Woo! As well as folks directly from the Six Nations of the Grand River Territory who will also share in their solidarity with us and with Mapuche political prisoners in Chile as well. And they'll be coming directly from Oshwegan. So if you can make it out tonight, it'd be really great to see you all. We'll also have a couple of good films for you to see to inspire that education of what it means, our martyrs and our warriors that have died in this horrible process. That's the first thing. Tomorrow, G20 to C-10, repression, austerity, and the prison boom. A panel discussion including G20 defendants in support of the launch of the 20th edition of Sports Struggle magazine and the 2012 Certain Days calendar. That'll be held tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Raging Spoon at 761 Queen Street West, and is a sliding scale between $5 and $35 for fundraising. So if you guys can make it out to that, that's also amazing. The event tonight is going to be held at the Graduate Students Union at the University of Toronto. That's at 16 Bancroft Avenue. If you guys don't know how to get there, let me know. talk to me after the rally. We can get you there, hopefully. And that's a couple of blocks north of college, just east of Trinidad. So, with that said, we want to tell you all to keep continuing here. Make some noise for the prisoners inside, so that they know that we are supporting them from outside for at least another good 15 or 20 minutes more and brave the cold. Let's make some noise and
you're showing you're expressing
Organize the
you got in there?
Yay!
Oh, I'll have to give you my number again. I'll give you my number.
Yeah! Hey, what you got there?
The coldest point.
Andy!
Yeah!
So you don't die.
Dar!
Don't warn me up!
A little exercise. Yeah. You put it in your phone, didn't you? Hey, check.
I'm really low, sorry. No.
Cut them off. Guys, that must be like an hour.
I was introduced to her as by guy Kevin, who's like good at
My dick is so big that if I don't lean back, I'll fall over.
Dehumanization. So when they put their when they put the
Getting
uniform
warm?
on,
Yep.
they forget that we
Bouncy.
are all human, that we're all
No.
Voting for my right to stay warm.
I
think I'm winning.
So let's be mindful of that, and let's tell them to be mindful of that as well.
Yeah. How you doing?
Very good.
Yeah. The Don jail. Overcrowding at the Don Corleone, the Don jail. Because it's right beside the Don River.
They know we are here for them.
Thanks for coming outside tonight, Meta. Yeah! So I want you guys to do quickly figures. Here. If you could identify with this, this is from a great book called Rethinking Approaches to Youth Justice. Our jails are overflowing with people who suffer from substance abuse, have few employable skills, are mentally challenged, and significantly disconnected from mainstream society, and whose lives are characterized by little, if any, support from family or community. In the Yukon, estimates suggest that at least half of the offenders through our courts are mentally challenged as a consequence of FAS, FA, or early life trauma. Many have been to jail so often they've become institutionalized. Most have lost the connections to community and family that induce constructive lifestyles. These are the people who fill our jails. Shame. Shame. We recognize that some degree of institutionalization and intervention may be necessary for out-of-control and high-risk youth. And we are not for a minute doubting the value of some of the programming and treatment currently available within custodial facilities, nor the many caring and compassionate staff employed there. Yet, at the end of the day, we believe there is ample evidence to show that in the long run, incarcerating youth does not reduce youth crime. and does not make our communities safer. In all likelihood, this strategy makes our communities more dangerous, and we must be ever cautious about its use and overuse. Shame!
Prevention programs!
Okay, folks, all right, we got our last speaker. We've had a lot of people here to speak about the evils of prison, and that's a good thing, because prisons are disgusting and prisons are revolting. We haven't actually spoken enough about Bill C-10 and what the actual implications of this bill are going to be. So the last speaker we're going to have is Tracy. So give it up for Tracy. After this, I just also want to announce there is going to be a vigil, I believe, at St. James Park tonight.
8 p.m.
At 8 p.m. for those who are interested. There is also, as I said earlier, there's going to be an event at the GSU as well. So if folks want to come and keep this going, you can join us at one of those two events, okay?
Walmart.
Here's Tracy.
Alright guys, thanks for coming out, and I know everybody's cold, and so I'm going to try to keep it short, but I kind of got to tell you a story here. I have a friend named Matt. He's 95 pounds, soaking wet, has fibromyalgia, scoliosis, and a seizure disorder. And he couldn't find a doctor to sign his access to a medical marijuana program. So he started going for himself, and he got arrested. And he spent 13 days in here.
Ridiculous.
13 days in a box in here.
One day.
And he went to court to prove that the medical marijuana program in this country is unconstitutional, and he won. And then, of course, the government appealed the decision, and we're still fighting. But the fact of the matter is Bill C-10, what they're planning here is that anyone caught growing more than 6 plants will do a mandatory 6 months in prison. A mandatory 6 months in prison. Potheads will do more time in prison than pedophiles. This is wrong, it's ridiculous, and it's got to be stopped. Frankly, I know that there is more than one pothead in this group. And I challenge that there is not at least one police officer behind me that does not have someone in their family that's sick and that they want to help. And frankly, this is a ridiculous law. We know that it's ridiculous. We know that the public is behind us, and there should be no prison for pot. Thank you. Stop Bill C-10.